And we might be the only 3 people excited about Secrets of Dumbledore, but we are. I'm hyped.
We are.
I'm hyped. It's Secrets of Dumbledore month.
Yes.
Also known as April. Welcome, everybody, to the Show of Requirement, a Harry Potter podcast, exclusively everywhere. This is your host, Spencer Price, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, David Gonzalez and Abby Tooley.
What's up?
I might have said those out of order. I forgot what the order is.
No, I come first, so
yeah, it was David first.
It's perfectly fine.
Oh,
yeah.
Perfect.
Just the way I wanted it.
And this is the last time you will at least hear new content from us before Secrets of Dumbledore. And so I want to, for a minute or two here, just last thoughts to our listeners before Secrets of Dumbledore.
I hope that Bunty becomes David's favorite character.
Second.
Oh, sorry. I was looking around to see if there was another person on here named David, because you sure weren't talking about me.
Oh my gosh.
No, I have been probably the most optimistic person on this Fantastic Beasts series. But this is the make it or break it film.
Yes.
For them.
Absolutely.
And I'm not going to run away from that. If it's bad, then I'm going to have to face the music. But if it's good, you're going to find me back on this podcast just being like, I told you so. Like, I knew it. I knew it was going to be okay. And I think that's what this is going to be. But also, I think that there can still be a way for maybe this film not to be someone's favorite. But Jude Law, Mads Mikkelsen, still
Eddie
put
Redmayne.
on a great performance. Yes, Eddie as well.
That's what I've been thinking
Everybody
about the last
on
couple
this
weeks.
cast
It's just Newt Scamander.
will put in good performances. And
They have a
so
stellar cast.
so it really, if it's bad, we know exactly who to blame. But I think that this is going to be a great movie. I'm so excited that it's almost here, and I'm just ready for it.
Yeah.
I think I've said something of this nature before, but I just feel like they're trying to right the ship. And David's optimism is more, you're a fan of more of a fan of Fantastic Beasts than I am.
Right.
So my optimism of Secrets of Dumbledore is more with the people they're bringing in. Like Steve Kloves coming back to help with the screenplay rewrite. Like, and maybe the original, I don't really know. He's just listed on there. I just assume that he came in for the rewrites. But we know he can write good Harry Potter movies. He wrote all of them. Or at least, I think he didn't write one of them. But I can't remember which one it is. I always forget. But it's just it's signs of good faith for me. And then the tone and the color, like David Yates is, what's he doing? Color.
Right. Craziness.
One weird thing that they're doing all those promos and stuff, and Ezra Miller is just like, time to flex. All of my Harry Potter knowledge. But I did not think that, for whatever reason, I didn't think that Theseus was a Hufflepuff.
I didn't necessarily peg that either.
But I wouldn't say his personality is that different from Cedric Diggory, for example.
Yeah. I think I just really hadn't thought about it all that hard.
Yeah, I don't think I really thought about it too. But for me, I always thought about, the family thing. I mean, other than Padma and Patil, like being in different houses, usually families all go in the same house.
Unless you're watching the movies, in which case they're in the same house.
They're both Gryffindors, yeah.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. The movies just make some weird things. Like, Katie Bell is in the Battle of Hogwarts, but she's a year above Harry.
Yeah.
As a student. She's in the battle as a student. In the movie. It's like, okay, fine. Biggie. Anyway, today is the part 2, the finale of the What If Harry Potter Was in Slytherin, the Hermione Granger series. And before we begin, again, David and Abby, just some time for rampant speculation on what happens. And if you don't know what's going on, like, you gotta listen to last week. We can't really.
What the heck are you doing here?
We can't hold
loser?
back. We can't. Yeah, we can't tell that story again.
No sympathy for you. Just get off. Like, get off now.
Because, like, honestly, the thing I've been thinking about the most is, like, is Harry really dead? But since we talked about it so much last time, Spencer, I didn't know if you'd already written it. So I'm, like, I'm playing this psychology game in my brain about whether or not you did it or not.
For sure.
I think I had ideas last week, but they didn't come into cemented what I was going to do until this week. Shout out to Cole Harris, a Fandom Done Right podcast fame, because he helped me. I had to bounce story ideas off of somebody that wasn't you two, because David and Abby are going in fresh, like the listeners, and I needed someone. I was like, Cole, I'm lost. Like, I need help. So shout out to him, because he helped me kind of cement some of the details, and I'll explain that as we go.
Happy birthday, Cole.
Happy birthday, Cole. Happy birthday.
Screw you, Cole. I mean, happy birthday, Cole. Sorry. Freudian slip.
Oh, no.
Well, he doesn't like Cursed Child, so I'll allow it. All right, so Spencer's notes. Before starting, this story's more ongoing, maybe more so than the originals even, but the original's it's pretty close. This Order of the Phoenix picks up with the ending of Goblet of Fire, as we know, because I left on a cliffhanger last week. And the sixth one, which we're going to call it the sixth one until we actually get to the title, picks up a couple of weeks post Order of the Phoenix. And then Deathly Hallows is a couple weeks after that. Because why not? I decided to do title crawls this time. So in the movies where it just pops out with the title. So I'm not going to lead with the title. We're going to lead with the story. And then at some point, I'm just going to say the title. Because it's fun. Like last time, we are all voicing characters. Abby is voicing most of the lady characters.
Cool.
David will find out what most means. David is hosting 2/3-ish of the male characters and all the bad guys. And then I'm voicing some characters as well.
Okay.
David, just be mindful of your Draco voice this time, because Draco's not the same anymore based on last week.
Okay.
I feel like channel your Cursed Child Draco, but he's 16.
But I haven't seen the play or the musical yet. So I don't even know what that's. I'll try. I'll try my best.
Okay. Time to return to the story. Harry Potter just died. That's all I'm going to say about last week. Through screams of panic and terror, Hermione is picked up by Mad-Eye Moody and taken to his office. She hadn't been to his office before, but was too distraught to look at all of the strange, assumably dark magic defense instruments in the room. I'm sorry you had to experience it, but I need to know every detail. I got Potter to the end of the tournament, so I need to know what I could have done to avoid this fate. Hermione begrudgingly relived some of the experience, Moody's eyes getting wider with the story, almost excited. Hermione is rescued by McGonagall and Dumbledore, Moody's still Barty Crouch Jr., and Snape brings Veritaserum and Barty tells his whole story. Pretty much the exact same story, from what I figure. Hermione's taken to Dumbledore's office by Minerva, and Fudge is left to watch Barty, who will get the Dementor's kiss because Fudge is dumb. Dumbledore gives Minerva very specific details to find a mangy black dog by the forest, tell him what happened, and bring him to the office, and Minerva leaves without a word. When Sirius arrives, Dumbledore kindly asks Hermione to tell them the story, one more time, in as great detail as she can. She does. As she recounts the story, Sirius looks more and more distraught at learning what happened to Harry, and Dumbledore, while mostly attentive and expressionless, does give an unreadable expression when Hermione mentions that Voldemort said Harry foiled him in the second year, which we know from last week's episode is not true in this version. By the end, Hermione is crying, but Sirius is a wreck. Well, thank goodness you're all right, Hermione. With all we've been through and what you've done for me, you're as much as family as Harry was. Dumbledore leads to action straight away. Hermione is sent to the hospital wing with Snuffles, aka Sirius Black in dog form. Keep up, movie fans. and drifts in and out of consciousness while many Order members come and go. She does wake at one point to raised voices between Ron and Draco. Don't jump at me for asking the right questions. How can we know what side you're on of all this, given your father?
I don't care what my father's doing right now. It doesn't matter. Being here with you all is all that matters to me.
Stop it! Stop it! This isn't the time for this. We're here for Hermione right now. Can't we just appreciate that and drop our differences and family ties for this?
Dumbledore and Professor Snape enter the room. Snape regards Draco being there with about as much confusion as a listener of this podcast would be if they were listening to this episode without listening to the first half of the story. It was last week. Harry Potter's dead. Just wanted to mention that one more time.
Why are you still on this? Get off! Seriously, listener. So sorry, Spencer. Gosh, disrespectful.
Leave! I thought you were getting on me for a second. You're getting on the listeners.
No. Okay. Yeah, I'm getting on the listeners.
Who's he? Dumbledore kindly asks the students to leave. Ron and Leanne say,
We'll be right outside, Hermione.
Dumbledore asks Snape and Sirius to make up, essentially. Same situation as the book.
The Weasleys are on their way, and they're getting your parents, Hermione. And are you sure it's wise to bring muggles to the school, Dumbledore? Well, while I was coerced by Barty Crouch Sr. to not bring her parents in before the third task, he's dead, and I've well made up my mind.
The Weasleys and Grangers arrived. Side note, did you guys know the Granger parents don't have first names? J.K. Rowling kept them away on purpose. Literally, because she was like, we've done enough details on the Weasley family. I want Hermione's family to be more ambiguous. So she doesn't even know.
Okay.
Just very random. I was like trying to find their names and I couldn't find them. Anyway.
Mom, Dad.
The Grangers come to hold Hermione's hands and embrace her. Arthur and Molly are followed by Charlie, Bill, Remus Lupin, the real Moody sat up in his bed, and 3 other wizards and witches Hermione didn't recognize. Is it true? Arthur asked.
Regretfully, yes it is. Voldemort has returned.
Ooh.
And Harry Potter is dead.
Is this everyone?
It's a start, Remus. Yes, I've invited you all here as I am reinstating the Order of the Phoenix.
Dun, dun, dun. Hermione Granger and the Order of the Phoenix. A month and a half have passed. Hermione's parents discuss between each other how worried they are about their daughter, who has remained distant and lost in worry since the day they brought her home from Hogwarts. Hermione hears them discussing but doesn't want to respond. Hermione's only comfort had been Crookshanks. She had been lost in thought, reliving Dumbledore's speech at the end of the year feast. He talked of Slytherin's loss of a great student, Harry's wit in classes, his competitive spirit on the Quidditch pitch, and his ultimate belief in good. Those would be their defining memories of Harry Potter. Then Dumbledore straight up told everyone that Harry was killed by Lord Voldemort. He correctly added,
The Ministry of Magic does not wish me to tell you this. It is possible your parents will be horrified that I have done so, either because they will not believe Voldemort has returned, or because they think I should not tell you so, young as you are. It is my belief, however, that the truth is generally preferable to lies, and that any attempt to pretend that Harry Potter, the boy who lived, who defied Voldemort twice, and was an excellent young man in his own right, died in some sort of blunder or accident, is an insult to his memory.
He also raised a toast to Hermione for bringing Harry Potter's body back and defying Voldemort, her second time. Or third time. Her third time. Dumbledore couldn't have been more right about the Ministry. The second Fudge sputtered on refusing to believe the Dark Lord's return onward, every outcrapping of the Daily Prophet did nothing but discredit Dumbledore and, by extension, Hermione's story. Hermione barely responded to letters. Ron, Leanne, and Draco were writing her 2-3 times a week, but Hermione scarcely replied. One evening, Hermione's mom had coerced her into an evening walk. Hermione had to admit on such hot days lately, it was good to get out all the same. Then it got colder. and the fog rolled in. Dementors attacked the pair of them. Hermione punched the Dementor, tried to summon a happy memory, but remembered who taught her this spell, what happened to him, and failed. She tried again and failed. Just before it seemed all hope was lost, a bright blue cloud engulfed the group. Miss Granger!
What? Who are...
No time. You've got to try again. I can't produce a Corporal Patronus. This won't hold them long. Hermione thought of Ron, of Leanne, and a happy moment in the Black Lake, holding an egg, looking at Draco.
Expecto Patronum!
That's it. Dumbledore is right. You are a clever witch. Once the Dementors were gone, Hermione got a good look at the wizard who saved them. He was a short man with a large top hat, a waistcoat, and pinstripe trousers. An odd look in Hampstead in 1995, but he was fashionable at least. She recognized him as one of the 3 wizards from the hospital wing a couple months before.
Dumbledore said that?
He sent me to keep an eye on you. Met your parents for tea while you were back on the train from Hogwarts. The name's Diggle. Daedalus Diggle. A real pleasure. He gave a low bow. Once he secured their safety in the house, Diggle went out to message the order. When he returned, he was joined by an eagle owl from the Ministry of Magic. The letter announced Hermione's expulsion from Hogwarts. Oh, no. Daedalus ran outside again. A few minutes passed, another owl arrived from the Ministry. Diggle read this one outside first, and then came inside with relief. A hearing. Thank Merlin. Dumbledore got to the Ministry just in time. Mad-Eye Moody and Hestia Jones arrived to join Diggle in escorting Hermione to Grimmauld Place.
Professor, how have you been?
I'm not your professor. And better, considering the world's gone to dragon dung. Jumping a few bits, because they're all the same, and I'm taking a lot of time. Hermione's hearing's pretty much the same. They spend time with Sirius, Buckbeak, the Weasleys. They pick up 12 Grimmauld Place. Ron and Hermione get made prefects, and we're off to Hogwarts. Hermione can see Thestrals, and the group meet Luna Lovegood officially. Umbridge is back. Not as bad as last time, only because Hermione's strong enough to not retaliate and get detention. After the first Defense Against the Dark Arts lesson, Draco follows after Hermione.
Hermione, please stop.
Draco, I don't want to talk about what happened.
I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about how you're doing.
They stopped in the outer courtyard.
Why'd you stop writing back?
I wanted to, Draco, I really did, but...
But what?
Dumbledore made me swear not to tell you anything.
Dumbledore said that?
Hermione nodded.
Well, why leave me in the dark? Maybe I can help. I mean, I helped thwart him our first year. I've been possessed by him, not to mention my parents.
Exactly, Draco, your parents. Given the side they've chosen, how can I trust you?
Because as much as I care about this war, I care more about protecting you.
He reached for her hand.
That's sweet.
Hermione said as she pulled away.
But not good enough.
Hermione has the scene with Luna and the Thestrals in the forest, not because it was necessarily what happened in the books, but because Spencer likes it. The year poured on. Hermione, Ron, and Leanne getting fed up with Umbridge's lessons. Ginny approached Hermione in Gryffindor Tower.
Listen, Hermione, there's a little gathering we're having in Hogsmeade, at the Hogshead. The Hogshead? Away from prying eyes, like Umbridge. Would you come?
Hermione agreed to go, but she was hesitant to go given her prefect status and the like, to avoid any more trouble than she was already into, with Umbridge's retorts about her lies, along with the Daily Prophet. But she went. She arrived to find Ron, Leanne, and surprisingly, Draco. Dumbledore's army was formed, but Hermione? Teach? How? Hermione knew one person to turn to. It wasn't Harry Potter, but it was certainly the next best thing. It was against everything she stood for. She could be expelled, which was worse than death, but she knew what she must do. She got her trusty quill.
Pigwidgeon, take a letter for me.
He twittered around in excitement.
Dear Snuffles.
Sirius jumped in head first. He sent a very special mirror to Hermione to help her with lesson plans 3 weeks of the month. and then he would make his secret treks to Hogwarts to teach more demonstratively in person. How? Fred and George nodded to Draco, and Draco volunteered for the task.
I can get him in, but I need one thing. Hermione, I need Harry Potter's invisibility cloak.
Later on in the year, Draco was talked into joining the Inquisitorial Squad. He assured Hermione that it was only to keep up appearances for his family, and said that he could tell how close the Inquisitorial Squad were getting to the DA. Hermione trusted him. People doubted Draco, but as Ron, Hermione, and Leanne knew, they'd find out pretty easily if he betrayed the group. Sturgis Podmore gets put in Azkaban for intruding the Ministry. There's a mass breakout at Azkaban, with Senator Fudge exclaiming Sirius Black must be guilty. Ron had to keep piping down DA members in the halls saying, "Mass murderer, Sirius Black, ah," as sarcastically as possible. Arthur Weasley is attacked by Nagini, but in this version, Remus Lupin shows up for the changing of the guard at the last second to save Arthur. What were they guarding? Ron and Hermione wondered. They go to the hospital to see him, and they meet Crazy Lockhart and Neville's parents. In the spring, Sirius does not show up for class at his normal end-of-the-month scheduled time. Draco's highly concerned, but Ron brings up a valid point. "Promise we'll investigate later, but Sirius wouldn't want us to skip. This may be one of the last meetings of the year, and you know how to conjure a Patronus, Hermione. We're all worried about Sirius. We'll find out what happened." During class, Draco has to exit to meet up with the Inquisitorial Squad. 5 minutes later, Draco runs in, completely out of breath.
"Run! She found out the truth! They are coming!"
"Run for it!"
Some get out, Draco helping them away, but just as Umbridge blows the wall out, Draco had the quick thinking and draws his wand. And Umbridge says,
"Mr. Malfoy, you found a way into the room? Very good. You've cornered them."
They went to Dumbledore's office. He still escapes the same way.
Is this Umbridge?
This is Dumbledore, sorry.
Okay. This says Dumbledore's army, not Granger's.
They all got multiple detentions, all getting scarred hands. Marietta got the pimples on her face. In between their massive detentions, Ron, Hermione, and Draco tried to reverse engineer what could have happened to Sirius. Draco, Fred, and George used dozens of ways to get Sirius in the castle, whether it be Buckbeak or quote-unquote Witherwings, Thestrals, Apparition, or other methods, but he never used the same one twice. Draco went out of his way to get Sirius in the castle each time, avoiding prefects and using secret passageways. Finally, Draco revealed an old piece of parchment.
It's called the Marauders Map. It shows everyone in the castle, where they are, what they're doing, every minute of every day. It's got all the secret passageways. Potter used to get into Hogsmeade in our 3rd year. I knew Harry had an old piece of parchment he read, but I never knew what it was for. The minute after you came back with Harry's body, before I could run into you, I was grabbed by Fred and George. They gave me specific instructions to get the map before it was taken away. We may need it for the dark days ahead. But I risked your safety, Hermione, and I'm sorry.
You couldn't have known Mad-Eye Moody was Barty Crouch Jr. in disguise, Draco. Let's just find him.
No luck. Sirius wasn't anywhere to be found on the map, along with Hogsmeade or the many other secret passages Draco had mapped out to help get him in. They were worried but couldn't write any Order members, as it would risk what Sirius and them were up to with the Dumbledore's army. Fred and George make their same grand escape. In the middle of the celebrating, Hermione falls as a vision enters her head. The vision showed the Department of Mysteries in the Ministry of Magic, and Sirius was being tortured.
"Come alone, Miss Granger. I'll see his corpse in tomorrow's Daily Prophet."
They hatch a plan to get through Umbridge's fireplace. Draco tries to pull the double turn he did before, but he's caught up this time. Umbridge tries to get Snape prepared to see him, and Draco relays the message to Snape.
"He's got Potfoot. He's got Potfoot at the place where it's hidden."
Ron has the idea of quote-unquote Dumbledore's secret weapon, aka Grop, and Hermione and Ron ditch Umbridge. Draco and the rest of the crew shake off the Inquisitorial Squad goons, and they go to the Ministry. The important bit and large changes to the Ministry battle scenes are Neville hearing the prophecy and handing it to Hermione. Draco is the one who shouts, "Get behind me!" and faces off against the Death Eaters, showing how much Draco has changed for good. Sirius sadly dies the same way, and Voldemort fights Dumbledore again. In Dumbledore's office, Hermione doesn't go on the tirade that Harry did, but is succumbing to the massive grief of Sirius's death, another close mentor of hers.
What were they after anyway? Was it this prophecy? Doesn't matter. It was broken. We won't hear it anyway.
This was not the only recording of the prophecy. The person who originally heard the prophecy is still alive. Me.
Dumbledore tells the same prophecy as before, but of course, the implications are different.
If Harry Potter is dead, why did Voldemort want the prophecy? He already has the answer.
Our one stroke of good fortune was that the eavesdropper who relayed Voldemort the prophecy was detected only a short way into the prophecy and thrown from the building. He only heard the first part.
But Harry Potter...
Don't you see? The prophecy is finished, complete. Nothing else is there for us. Only our battle with Voldemort, with the freedom of whoever has the opportunity to kill him, can take that chance.
We don't know that's true. It says Voldemort can be killed by anyone else.
And it is that piece of unknown that is vital to our cause. If we don't believe this, there is no hope. Harry truly dies in our hearts. We must push on with this belief.
So, Harry Potter's truly gone.
Dumbledore hesitated for a fraction of a second.
Yes, Harry is no longer with us.
Hermione got on the train home with Ron, Draco, and Leanne. Leanne spoke up.
I'm sorry about your father, Draco.
He made his choice.
Where will you go?
Don't worry. I've got an aunt and uncle, friends of the order. They've already got a room for me, Ted, and Andromeda Tonks.
After a long pause, Ron speaks up again. You know, I've thought. We have one thing that Voldemort doesn't have.
What's that?
Something worth fighting for. And that concludes Hermione Granger and the Order of the Phoenix. Thoughts?
Why did you give me Umbridge's voice?
Because
it was just so good, because it was perfect.
Because it was amazing.
It would be.
Oh my goodness.
That was my hope at the very beginning. When you said that I would only get most, I was like, oh, please make David Umbridge.
I just knew. I was like, it's like, Abby has to be reading through the lines.
Also, David's reaction to the Hermione Draco thing was really funny. Listeners, you couldn't see it, but he was gagging for a lot of the scene.
Someone's happy about this, and I'm doing my best, guys.
My
it's about as saucy as this gets, but
to that listener, are you happy now? Are you happy?
One detail that
every day for the rest of your life, your left shoe is always wet.
Oh.
Yeah. Goodness. But I thought this was fun. I really liked it. Like, I was just so invested in this, because it's like not that different, but also very much different.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And it was a whole lot of fun.
I agree.
To read. Spencer, man, awesome job. You're doing really good. I'm sorry to give you props already in this episode, but dude, you're killing it.
And what I love is that we're only on page 13 of 27, so I'm really excited for the rest of this.
We powered through those 13 pages. It's a lot of dialogue.
It was good.
I was going to tell you guys that before. One detail I forgot to mention. I don't remember where I was going to put this. I think Dumbledore must have figured it out, but Voldemort either used the Imperious Curse or got into the castle and literally directly spelled Hermione.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's going to break the universe.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
right.
But there's no protections because they don't believe that Voldemort's back. So,
right.
Anyway, didn't want to dwell on that detail. Anyway, as Order of the Phoenix is never not long in any form, we're running a little low on time because I want to focus on Deathly Hallows. So this one's going to be a little bit of a quick one for the sole purpose of focusing on the Deathly Hallows because it's a doozy.
Mm-hmm.
So we're on the sixth one. The Two Ministers is exactly the same, except like the movie, it should have actually been in the movie. The scene is adapted, and it all ends with the familiar lines, "But you have magic. Can't you do anything?" Well, you see, the problem is, Minister, they have magic too. Hermione Granger and the Pool of the Past.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Hermione Granger sat in the reading nook of the Granger home overlooking the foggy day. She had been reading everything she could on dark magic and defensive magic for the first odd month of summer, but for once, reading was not filling the hole Sirius had left in her heart. She wasn't his godchild, but he had meant a great deal to her over the course of the Triwizard Tournament and teaching Sirius's Army, as Neville and Ginny had renamed it. She kept looking back at the letter she had received a fortnight before, saying Dumbledore was arriving to escort her to the Burrow and would enjoy the pleasure of meeting her parents. Tonight was the night for his foretold arrival. She looked across to the recent daily prophets, noting in large fonts Voldemort's return, Fudge's resignation, and Scrimmager becoming minister, and a bunch of dialogue of the supposed quote-unquote chosen one, the girl who had defied Voldemort 3 times and the quote-unquote hero of Voldemort's attack on the Ministry, Hermione Granger. Hermione didn't feel like any of those things, but best not to tell them that. As Dumbledore had said a few weeks before, they needed to latch on to hope, however that looked. Otherwise, Voldemort wins. Dumbledore arrived on time. He informed Hermione that Sirius, without any family, had left her everything he owned. After a couple of bottles of sherry shared with the group, Dumbledore praising highly the Granger's wonderful child, he magicked away Hermione's belongings to the Burrow, including Cruikshanks, and they sidelong apparated to the lovely village of Bubbly Babbleton, where they recruited Horace Slughorn, to come teach at the school once more. Just wanted to say which version of Slughorn we have here. This scene is a little different, but Slughorn still bought into the Chosen One nonsense, and he's propelled by Hermione's great skill, so he still returns to Hogwarts. Just before going inside the Burrow, Dumbledore asked Hermione to do some private lessons with him this year. Hermione agrees. She walks into much love at the Burrow. She is surprised to find Draco there laughing with Ron when she arrives. Draco's just here for a few days, so Ginny can show him how bad he is at Chaser.
That's all right. I'm captain this year, and well, I've got to play Seeker.
Molly breaks up the long pause to offer up something for Hermione to eat, and the rest go on to bed. Draco left after a couple days to Andromeda and Ted Tonks. It was a risky journey, so he left after one of the many nights Tonks came for dinner with Molly. Hermione wrote Draco afterwards asking what was going on with Tonks, as he might have a better idea. Draco didn't know for sure, but she was really depressed about someone and talked about it with his aunt almost every other day. Weasley's Wizard Wheezes is the same, with Leanne joining them in Diagon Alley. Draco still trails off to Nocturne Alley. Ron points out that he doesn't look like he wants to be followed, and he's with his mother. Enough red flags to follow him. The rest of the scene ensues the same way, with Draco being interested, apparently, in some dark artifacts. In Slughorn's class, Draco manages to make the potion that earns him Felix Felicis, liquid luck. Hermione Confundus charms Ron into the keeper position again. Draco has similar struggles with Quidditch captaining that Harry had, with his reputation in Slytherin House being completely destroyed by his stalemate against the Death Eaters in the previous year. But he gets everybody in line. Hermione can't help but notice he's hiding something over the course of the year as he becomes more and more distant from her. Dumbledore's private lessons exploring Voldemort's past, they're all the same. But they're more of a highlight of the book to make up for the Half-Blood Prince not being in this plot at all. Dumbledore asks Hermione the great request of getting the missing memory from Slughorn. Hermione and Ron are trudging through the snow to Hogsmeade when they run into Leanne trying to stop a frantic Katie Bell. Suddenly Katie is cursed in the air and Hagrid comes to save her. Professor Snape inspects the necklace.
I think Miss Bell is lucky to be alive.
Ron couldn't get off the fact that Hermione did see the necklace in the shop Draco was in. I don't know how it adds up, but Draco has to be involved, Hermione. We need to ask him. Leanne starts to sob about Katie, and Hermione ends the conversation clearly because it's bothering Leanne. Ron is stressed more than ever. Ginny tries to pump him up. She's had to take captaining duties from Katie Bell, and she's Seeker, but she's unsuccessful. Draco fakes the liquid luck. I can't remember in the book if they played Slytherin in this game or not, but if they did, they're going to play someone else in this version. After the game, Draco reveals that he didn't actually put it in and points out that he could have used a Confundus charm. It's friendly, but there's a certain awkwardness in the air between Draco and Hermione when he says that. Lavendar kisses Ron, Hermione sends birds, etc. Hermione's distraught. Hermione invites Draco to the Slug Christmas party to annoy Ron. Leanne points out this is a bad idea, given Draco's feelings, but it's too late for that. Draco and Hermione have it out in the middle of the party, Draco frustrated as just a pawn in her game, and Hermione pointing out that he's up to something. At this, Draco storms out. Snape follows him. Hermione thought this was odd and secretly follows the pair.
How am I going to do this? I swore to protect you. I made the unbreakable vow. Then we have to do it. There's no other way. You can do this, Draco. I have fooled them for years. We can do this, and then you'll be in the Dark Lord's trusted circle.
Draco sobs. Hermione quietly cries in her hiding place. Hermione tries to convince Tonks and Lupin that Draco's fallen to, the bad side. Lupin, or at least Snape has. Lupin denies as Dumbledore trusts Snape. Therefore, he does. Hermione continues her efforts to get the memory, but Slughorn continues to evade her. One time she arrives to Slughorn's office, she finds him on the floor with his mouth foaming. Snape rushes in at the last minute and saves Slughorn. After talking it through in the hospital wing, it's clear that someone was trying to poison Dumbledore. Hermione finds the bottle of liquid luck by her bedside in Gryffindor Tower. Hermione and Neville are walking out of class when they see a scene erupting in the courtyard. Lavender screaming and punching Ron. Ron is shocked, but turns, and Leanne is in the corner. And Hermione says...
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
You broke up with Lavender 1-1?
Not without help. Leanne smiled and high-fived Ron.
You had it in you. Just needed a little coaching is all.
Katie Bell returns to Hogwarts. Hermione tries to ask, but Katie doesn't remember who cursed her. Just then, Hermione makes eye contact with Draco. Draco files out, but Hermione chases him this time. In the girls' bathroom on the 3rd floor, Moaning Myrtle is consoling Draco. Hermione corners him.
What did you do, Draco?
Draco turns, draws his wand, and they duel. Snape stops the duel, and they both get detentions. Ron has the idea of Hermione using the liquid luck from Draco. Look, we don't know whether Draco's on our side, but he did give it to you. This is our best shot. Hermione gets the memory from Slughorn, using Lily's story.
Without that memory, Lily, Harry, all of it will be for nothing.
They learn the truth about the Horcruxes. Dumbledore and Hermione go to the cave, Dumbledore having Harry's old invisibility cloak in his possession. When they return, Dumbledore freezes Hermione inside of the invisibility cloak. Draco disarms Dumbledore. Draco keeps trying to lower his wand, but Dumbledore insists he keep it trained on him.
Draco, you are no assassin. I know. It's not like Snape and I weren't trying to stop every attempt we made, but there's no way out. I have to do this. I have to kill you. Oh, he's gonna kill me. Calm down, Draco. Help me, Professor. There's Death Eaters in this castle. I never wanted any of this to happen. It's all right. Trust me. Keep your wand trained on me.
Bellatrix pushes Draco to kill him.
Prove your worth again, Draco. This is how we fix everything.
Snape comes in.
No. Severus. Please. Avada Kedavra.
It's the sound effect for the movie. Sorry. Dumbledore falls off the astronomy tower. Dead. The battle ensues with Hermione chasing down Snape. The Death Eaters run into the Forbidden Forest, led by Snape. Dumbledore's funeral, the White Tombs, mostly the same, with Hermione, Ron, and Leanne at their spot on the Black Lake. Draco approaches.
Ron, Leanne, Hermione, Guys,
We understand, Draco. I understand everything now. You were in an impossible situation. You tried to save him, despite also trying to look like you were killing him.
I never thought Snape would do it. I trusted him. It was Snape. Always Snape.
Hermione reveals she's not coming back to Hogwarts and shows them the fake locket. Ron reads the message inside. Leanne says,
You're brave and smart, Hermione, but right now you're being so thick. We're all in this together.
And that wraps Hermione Granger in the pool of the past. Thoughts, kids?
I really think that having David do like an Olaf version of all the Harry Potter movies, like by himself, all the different voices.
He's doing a lot of voices this
fantastic.
time. He has a lot of dialogue scenes with himself.
I do. Yeah.
Spencer, I do like your dialogue.
It's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Shucks, guys.
You're not George Lucas.
That's fair.
And that's a compliment. He's not saying...
That's the biggest compliment I could give.
Yeah, it's not a, you're no George Lucas. No, he's saying you're not George Lucas.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I liked it. I like what you did with this book. I like the title. I think it had to be different.
It was tough to find it.
You did it in a good way.
It was the best title I could think of.
Well, and it's good, and it makes sense. I mean, you can't use Half-Blood Prince because that storyline isn't in here.
It's not relevant,
and it makes sense. And it's not. It makes sense that it would be in here, you know.
Yeah.
So I think it was good. Man, Deathly Hallows is coming up, and I'm ready for it. Here we go.
All right, let's do this. Everyone clear your throats, including me.
I'm so sorry.
No. Guys, David, Hermione, you already know how this one has to open.
Wait, just call me Hermione.
Did I? David, Hermione.
David, Hermione.
Well, she's playing Hermione. David, Abby, you know how this has to open.
Hermione, tea's ready, darling. Coming, Mom.
Hermione steps down the stairs. Her parents are sitting at the couch facing away. Hermione points her wand and whispers,
Obliviate.
Mr. and Mrs. Granger's eyes both widen. Hermione's appearances in all the pictures slowly fade as Hermione leaves the house without another look. Hermione walks down the street. Hermione Granger in the Deathly Hallows. Snape and Yaxley arrive at Malfoy Manor. The scene is about the same. During Voldemort's speech, Draco sneaks a look at Snape. Snape stares back at him with no expression whatsoever. Voldemort remarks,
Draco, I trust you have regained the trust of the Order. Yes, my lord. Then go to them. Mustn't keep your mudblood lover waiting.
Laughs from the Death Eaters erupt. Draco stands up to leave and sneaks a glance he shouldn't back at Charity Burbage. This is Voldemort, by the way.
Oh.
Sorry.
Oh, stay for a moment, Draco. You want to see what happens next to our guest.
Hermione disapparates just outside the burrow's protective barrier. Leanne is waiting by the end of the road. Leanne says,
Thank goodness you're all right. Did you... It's done.
Hermione began to sob, and they embraced. When they enter, Lupin still jumps to questioning Hermione whether she's an imposter. Later during dinner, Draco arrives. Lupin and Draco point wands at each other. The joke Harry Potter made in my class on boggarts.
This class is ridiculous.
And who really made that joke?
I did.
Draco informs the group of Charity Burbage's murder.
They've almost certainly infiltrated the Ministry. I'm not going back.
You don't have to, Draco, Ron responds. Mrs. Weasley tries her best to separate the group from making plans, but they still manage to work things out together. Draco's got nothing to lose. Ron's got the goal. Goal? I don't know how to pronounce it. Goal. And Leanne's made up her mind.
My mom's a muggle. The world won't be safe until you know who's gone.
Dumbledore leaves Hermione the Tales of Beedle the Bard book and Ron the Deluminator. He tries to leave Hermione the Sword of Gryffindor, but Scrimgeour won't give it up, and he doesn't have it. The wedding's the same. Kingsley's message arrives that the ministry's been overrun, and they all run for it. They get cornered at the coffee shop again. Draco has the idea to kill them, but Leanne suggests they wipe their memories. Ron encourages Hermione to do it. They go to Grimmauld Place. Lupin meets them there, and a similar argument ensues from Draco and Ron instead of Harry in the original version. Lupin informs the group of the immense danger. Hermione notices one morning Ron and Leanne fell asleep holding hands. Ron finds RAB's room again. They learn Creature's story. They learn Creature's story and decide to infiltrate the ministry. And they infiltrate the ministry, Draco replacing Harry as Runcorn. Draco doesn't find anything in Umbridge's office, saves Hermione downstairs, and they run for the fireplaces. Ron is splinched, and the four have to tent for a really long time. Like the book. Draco and Ron have a fight. Leanne tries to stop him, but Ron leaves, and Leanne is heartbroken. Draco convinces Hermione they should go to Godric's Hollow, as Voldemort may have hidden a Horcrux there. Hermione agrees only because Dumbledore may have hidden the Sword of Gryffindor there. Leanne is too distraught to make a choice here. She stays at the tent while they make the trip.
Draco, I think it's Christmas Eve.
They stop at the church, listening to the singing. Draco steps over to the graveyard.
Hermione, the symbol.
The Deathly Hallows symbol from Hermione's Beetle the Bard were etched on the Peverills' graves. James and Lily Potter's graves lay close by. As they moved toward them, a magic that Hermione shuddered to think about had made it so a third grave lay in between them. Harry Potter. Hermione started crying and broke to her knees. Draco knelt down to hold her. Hermione pulled out her wand to create some flowers.
Merry Christmas, Hermione.
Hermione wept for a few seconds till she heard light footsteps behind them and a long, swaying sound.
His body isn't there, Hermione Granger.
Voldemort didn't bother to draw his wand.
Nagini, time to play.
They tried to run for it, but Nagini swept behind them, leaving them cornered.
One chance. Tell me where Harry Potter is.
Harry Potter. He's dead.
Crucial!
Draco screamed.
Tell me, Miss Granger. His mind can only hold on so long.
Voldemort was cursed from behind. Just when he turned, his attacker disapparated. Suddenly, black clouds of smoke surrounded Voldemort as Peruvian instant darkness powder came from all sides. You shouldn't have followed these children tonight, Tom. The order's on their way.
What's left of it, you mean, Alastor?
Mad-Eye Moody and Voldemort duel. Moody is holding his own, but he is losing ground quickly. Don't just watch! The two of you get out of here! Draco shouted.
Reducto!
The nearest tombstone landed on top of Nagini, briefly trapping her. Draco and Hermione disapparated away. In the Forest of Dean, Draco was wearing the locket on the night watch. He saw the doe and followed it. Ron saves Draco from drowning. Draco encourages Ron to kill the Horcrux in the locket, and Ron has to make amends with Leanne. On Ron's radio, they later find that Voldemort killed Mad-Eye Moody. We get a unique scene in that Draco has to hear Dean Thomas, Griphook, and Ted Tonks around a fire on the run. Hermione has to stop Draco, saying they can't help him. Getting involved would only make things more dangerous for him. Draco grieves over his uncle's situation. The reunited group go to the Lovegoods house. Xenophilius tells the tale of the three brothers. Death Eaters arrive. They go back to the Forest of Dean to be surrounded by Snatchers and are taken to Malfoy Manor. The mirror is broken while they're going through the stuff that they have, the magic mirror from Sirius. Ron picks up a piece. While Hermione is being tortured upstairs, Dobby arrives to the calls of Ron in the mirror for help. Dobby rescues Dean Thomas, Luna Lovegood, and Ollivander, and the rest go up the stairs. A duel ensues where all the wands are held by Hermione, Draco, and Ron, and Leanne, except for Peter Pettigrew. He draws his wand at Hermione, hesitates, and then his silver hand kills him. Bellatrix throws her knife, and Dobby is killed. At Shell Cottage, they bury Dobby and they celebrate the birth of Teddy later on. The group infiltrate Gringotts, but without the sword, don't know what they're going to do because Griphook still gets the sword. They're convinced the last Horcrux must be at Hogwarts. Also, Leanne points out where they can get basilisk fangs. The group apparate into Hogsmeade and are rescued by Aberforth Dumbledore. They meet the reinstated Sirius's army, led by Ginny and Neville, go downstairs to stand up to Snape and the Carrows, and they split up, Ron and Leanne heading for the basilisk fangs with the cup, and Hermione and Draco following Luna to Ravenclaw Tower. Luna stops Draco.
It's obvious, isn't it? We have to talk to someone who's dead.
Perfect. Draco replaces Harry Potter in the original version in the great scene with the Grey Lady ghost.
We can stop him, once and for all.
You know where it is, Draco. In a way, you have for a while. It's in the room, where all things are hidden.
Ron convinces Leanne to destroy the cup. Leanne, a Hufflepuff, destroys the Horcrux inside Hufflepuff's cup. Leanne and Ron embrace and kiss.
Frick me.
Draco and Hermione find Ron and Leanne again, and they run for the Room of Requirement. Little does Draco know that he's being followed by Blaze, Crabbe, and Goyle. Draco and Hermione decide to save them, much to Ron's frustration. After destroying Ravenclaw's diadem and the door closed to the flames, Blaze spoke.
I know where your father is, Draco.
They sneak down to the docks.
The Elder Wand is not loyal to me because you killed Dumbledore, Severus.
This is where they learn that Voldemort has the Elder Wand. Snape is killed and gives Hermione the memory to take to the Pensieve. Hermione enters Snape's memories and sees young Lily. The story is same all the way up to their 6th year. Snape walks into the Forbidden Forest, his wand raised. Dumbledore and Hagrid appear out of the shadows, Hagrid with a grave expression.
What is this? Why are we here, Headmaster? Follow me, Severus. All will be explained.
Deep, deep in the forest lie a tree at the edge of a clearing.
Careful, Severus.
The tree swung a branch in Snape's direction.
A whomping willow. Yes, the first one. Hagrid found it in his first few years as gamekeeper.
Dumbledore touched a certain knot and the tree peeled back the roots to reveal an unmarked grave. Snape stuttered.
Headmaster. Is that? Yes, Severus. This is the true grave of Harry Potter.
Dumbledore explains the part of Voldemort's soul living inside Harry.
I had hoped, if my assumptions are right, and they often are, that Harry would have a choice, to let the part of Voldemort die and Harry return to the living, or Harry pass on. I preserved Harry's body in the event that he could return, and now you must do the same. We know I'm going to die anyways, Severus. Voldemort has set Draco to kill me. You must be the one to kill me, Severus.
The memory ended, and Hermione ran to the others.
Where's Hagrid?
Hermione, what?
Where is he?
Leanne spoke up.
He got taken an hour ago. They took him away to where they're hiding, out in the Forbidden Forest.
Noises erupted through the castle. They all ran to the courtyard where they found Voldemort leading his forces, with Hagrid carrying the body of 14-year-old Harry Potter.
Harry Potter is dead! Yay!
Neville makes his speech again and kills the snake. Hermione starts to circle Voldemort.
The wand's not loyal to you, Voldemort.
Hermione turns and disarms Draco. Voldemort attempts to kill Hermione. Hermione uses an old friend's favorite spell, Expelliarmus. The spell rebounds back and Voldemort is killed as a normal man. They round out the remaining Death Eaters and quietly celebrate the victory whilst mourning the losses. The four walk out. Hermione breaks the Elder Wand on the bridge. She holds hands with Draco and looks to Ron, who gives a jerk of his head Hermione took to signify, if you must. Our story ends with the remaining Order of the Phoenix and Sirius's army burying Harry's body in between his parents. Hermione said,
For all he was, his sacrifice pushed us forward. Harry may not have killed Voldemort, but he did have victory through us.
And that wraps Hermione Granger in the Deathly Hallows and the Hermione Granger series.
Dun, 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 dun,
No.
dun.
No. If anything, it should be Hogwarts March. Oh my gosh.
Awesome. It's lit.
That's it, guys.
Wow.
Spencer, you did fantastic.
I know David's not happy about a certain plot device, but
Like, why though? Like, for real? Like, why would you do that? Like, I don't understand.
Honestly,
Like,
I thought it
here's
was
the thing.
fine.
Oh no, you're not gonna do the whole Spencer thing, like with the whole like Delphi being like, I just didn't have a problem with it though.
I really didn't though, but I think it's because I've always had a problem with Hermione and Ron.
Yeah.
I don't know.
no, I disagree with
I don't
that.
know.
I'm actually Hermione and Ron loyalist.
Yeah, and
No. I don't know who I think Hermione should have ended up with, but I don't think Ron or Harry.
or Draco.
Maybe Draco. I don't know. I don't know what I think about Draco. I haven't thought about it that
definitely not
much.
the original version Draco.
If Cole Harris,
No, it'd have
if
to be. It'd have to be rewritten.
If Cole was in
it'd have
this
to be rewritten.
episode, he would say Dobby because he likes the Dobby and Mrs.
Oh my
Weasley.
gosh.
Happy birthday,
No.
Cole. Again.
Cole Harris.
But you know, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be. It's just one of those things. I'm like, it's only because of the fan art that I've seen. I see this all the time,
Right.
and
Spencer wrote an explicit version he'll send to you later. No.
I did not.
Okay.
I most definitely did
I'm
not.
just kidding.
This is the sauciest it gets for me. They didn't even kiss, David.
I know.
I kept them from kissing just for you. Just
You
for
know
you.
what? But even with that, David, I hope you still
one.
had a banger
We're
of a
missing
time.
one. Hermione Granger and the Cursed Child. Like, where's that one?
What?
Where's that one?
What?
What?
Are we
I'm
getting
sorry. I don't think so.
Good.
I didn't write it.
Great answer, Spencer. It doesn't exist in this.
Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Hermione Granger.
David, you don't want to know. You don't want to know where Hermione and Draco are at by then. I don't think. Nor do I, really.
Touche. It's fair.
That's really funny.
So Cole Harris, he gets the shout out of, and wow, David just peaced out, I guess. That's
Bye.
fine. He's done. He's done. Cole gave me the idea of, I bounced off ideas. I'm like, should Harry remain dead? And Cole, because I told him, I said, hey, I'm killing off Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, I like some ideas, but I think it has to be, it's a better twist if Harry remains dead.
It is a
Yeah.
better
Harry's
twist,
death has to be,
It
he said
is.
Harry's death has to be final.
Well,
and that was kind of what helped me build out the rest of it.
Yeah, and I think it's also interesting, again, because this Harry is going to be different than the one, obviously, in the original timeline. So, like, of course, he's going to stay and not come back.
Well, and think about all the time that he had. Like, I don't know where he went in between.
Yeah, and that's
but
the thing. You would almost have, I mean, you wouldn't have to explain it, but it would be very, very challenging to really bring him back in a way that makes sense story-wise, because if you bring him back let's say you brought him back in the Order of the Phoenix, well, then his death really is like significantly less, I guess, heartbreaking. I mean, it will be initially when it comes out, but then after that, it's just like, oh, he's going to come back anyway. But you do it,
and he's not going to die another time.
Yeah, and you do it too late.
Right.
You bring him back in the Deathly Hallows. Well, now you got to explain where he's been all this time and do some more exposition of that. And that's time that we really don't have. And so I think you made the right choice.
I would agree with that.
It's a tough choice.
It's a tough choice, yeah.
Well, and plus, again, you don't want Harry to end up being the hero, so it's like, yay, exactly. Harry's back. Now what?
And then there was, and then maybe it was in the Half-Blood Prince. I couldn't find the specific reference, but there was a lot of stuff about Dumbledore saying that the prophecy doesn't really matter. Like, it matters to Voldemort, but it doesn't matter too much to everyone else. And so I didn't feel as bad with Hermione just killing Voldemort.
Yeah.
But I this whole time, like, I've been trying to think of how I was going to kill off Voldemort, and I was like, I'll just do the same thing. call it a cop-out, but I like the original ending.
Wow. Good work, everybody.
Yeah. You did great, Spencer.
Thank you.
And David,
I think wonderful. I'm burned out. Not doing one of these again for a year. See you in the next year and a half.
Hey, this
one of these.
This was fun. I had a really great time doing voices, so thank you for letting me do this.
I don't know if this topped Marauders. I don't know.
I enjoyed being a part of this one.
That's true.
So
I was happy on the last one.
As somebody who was there for both, we probably won't do this. I think the reason why I like this more isn't necessarily because story. I think just structurally being able to like read lines and to be invested in the story really is a game changer.
I really liked
that you made this change in terms of like the writing room series of, okay, you're putting some dialogue into this so we can kind of see this play out. And so I would say selfishly, I would love to see this for the Marauder series, but that's like a butt ton of work.
Yes, and I don't know if people would like us re-putting it out again. And it's like, it was like 3 episodes, but if you haven't heard it, you should go listen to it.
Yes, for sure. Yeah.
And it was more like original than this was. So this was not as much of a undertaking.
I listened to it as a listener, just like viewers like you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Abby, for listening to my very long 3-episode trilogy.
Yeah.
That was a lot.
Yeah.
We originally published it was all in 1 week too. Crazy. We were crazy. Anyway, we'll be back. We won't be back till I think we're going to release a Secrets of Dumbledore conversation compilation next week.
Right.
Just to have something out there before, just to pile together all that we've said about Secrets of Dumbledore, minus the writing room for Secrets of Dumbledore, because that'd be confusing.
Yeah, it really would be.
Right.
Yeah.
Go back and listen to it if you want.
Yeah, for real.
It'd be very confusing if I put it in the compilation, so I will not be doing that. But next time you'll hear from us will be the Secrets of Dumbledore review. Go see it if you want to. Don't want to get into if you don't want to see it, but
if you don't want to see it,
even if you don't want to,
don't come back.
Go do it.
If you want to hear about what we thought of it, we'll still be here.
Yeah, we will.
So,
actually, if you're on the fence on whether you want to see it or not, listen to our podcast in our spoiler-free review section, and we will tell you if it's worth seeing.
Yeah, but I'm going to get into spoilers quick. I don't have much patience for non-spoilers. Anyway, on behalf of Abby and David, thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you next time for a Secrets of Dumbledore review. On behalf of everybody, Miss, you're a wizard, Harry. Jif managed.